Hello everyone and welcome back to Chrono Clock. Let's continue. I'd spent so much time dealing with this whole charade that by the time I left school it was getting close to dusk. But I still didn't feel like going home just yet, so I decided to take a stroll along the beach, which was within walking distance of the school building. A confession, huh?
なんとも妙なことになったの。
Crow floated down to the ground. With the red glow of the sunset illuminating her body, her resemblance to a goldfish was all the more apparent. She doesn't look like a goldfish at all. What are you talking about?
童貞を卒業しようと女子探しをしていたお主が他人の恋路の手伝いとはな。
Could you please stop calling me a virgin?
繁殖目的での女子探しか？
That's not what this whole thing is about, little Miss Subtlety. Maybe I ought to just hurl her watch into the goddamn sea.
では、あの女子にどんな下心があるというのだ？
Realizing she was asking me a serious question this time, I grinned back at her. In all seriousness, I thought Mio was pretty courageous to do that, so I wanted to help out. And besides, I lightly patted the watch in my pocket. I have such a powerful ability to rewind time here, but I'm only a student, so it's more power than I know what to do with. So I'm thinking maybe using it to help out other people isn't a bad idea. Not that it wouldn't be really cool if I ended up saving the world or something with this much power though. All the same, helping a friend work through their awakening perception of love was more than enough for me. Crow gave a strange murmur in response.
ろくでもないことにしか時計の力を使わないと思ったが、ついには自分の利益のためですらなくなったか。どうもお主は今まで我が輩が接したことのある人間とは毛色が違うようだな。
Well, thanks.
褒めてはおらんよ。
Whatever, just wait until tomorrow. I had planned on taking it easy after school today, but then I got caught in the middle of this whole situation. Ultimately, though, it was just a matter of waiting for tomorrow. It was time to go home and sleep on it. Every so often, the day for me would begin with a soft, slightly cool sensation, accompanied by a pleasant aroma. It would usually happen about once a week. And on days when it would happen, I would end up waking up before the alarm on my phone sounded. This again? My brain felt like pudding as I roused from my slumber, but it was still immediately apparent to me that today was one of those days. Preparing myself for the inevitable, I then opened my eyes. Oh. Who is this? Could this be our little sister? Before me lay a girl who had a more traditional air of beauty to her than any other I knew. Her cleavage was slightly exposed and she had evidently been watching me sleep. Any man who wakes up with a beautiful girl in his bed is no doubt blessed in life. Or rather, he would be if the girl weren't actually his sister. Well, it depends. Good morning, Michiru.
おはようございます、兄様。起こしてしまいましたか？
Yeah, but it's no big deal. It's already morning now.
そうですか。兄様を疑うようで申し訳ありませんが、私に気を使って朝だという嘘をついていませんか？
The bright sunlight streaming in through the windows had already given me the impression that it would be another hot day. But there was no way for my little sister to know that. Michiru's eyes were blank and empty, because she happens to be blind. What? Really? Don't worry, it really is morning. I smiled at her as I checked the time on my phone. I'm gonna get up in like 10 minutes.
10分。 あとわずかで兄様の吐息とぬくもりを感じられる幸せが終わってしまうのは、まるでシンデレラが魔法の解ける瞬間を残念に思うようなものですね。
Wow, you are pretty poetic at this hour of the morning.
兄様、キスをしてもよろしいですか？
You know, Michiru, you're not a kid anymore. You're getting a little old to be crawling into bed with me. Plus, you shouldn't be asking things like that of your sibling either.
みちるはまだ子供ですし、これでもかなり譲歩したお願いですのに。
This self-proclaimed child certainly wasn't one any longer, especially considering her physical maturation. But when she didn't get her way, she could certainly still pout like one. In spite of her reserved outward appearance, I think my younger sister is at her absolute cutest when she gets like this. That reminds me, there was something I wanted to ask you.
何をですか？
If you had just one chance to turn back time and relive your life from any point in the past, how far back would you turn the hands of time?
何かの謎々ですか？
Nope, just a survey.
やり直したい過去などというものは特にありませんが。
You're the first person to give me a direct answer like that.
兄様と双子の兄弟として生まれたかったかもしれませんね。
I don't mean relive your life that way. Wouldn't you want to go back and do something to avoid getting that sickness which made you blind or something like that?
全く思いません。
Even if you're used to it by now, you can't deny that it's inconvenient.
そうですが、目が見えなくなったからこそ見えるようになったものも多いですから。
Then Michiru reached out to my face.
兄様、本当に目が覚めたようですので失礼いたします。
I closed my eyes and let her touch my face. Michiru's supple fingers diligently traced over the outline of my cheeks, my forehead, my eyebrows, my eyes, and my lips in orderly fashion. Given her blindness, this is the closest thing to sight of which she is capable. Her fingers moved from my face down to my neck, pausing briefly at the jugular, and then continued down to my shoulders, my arms, and eventually my fingers. As for below my waist, well, I had already scolded her for trying that in the past. Once she had finished, her fingers reluctantly moved away, so I opened my eyes.
今日も兄様はご健康のようで何よりです。
Michiru is able to diagnose me better than a doctor like this. Her fingers can read me like braille, and she can even pick up on smaller details, such as the texture of my skin and my body temperature. In any case, do you really enjoy listening to me sleep that much?
この上なく幸せです。できれば男女のちぎり、兄様のたくましいものでお慈悲をいただければと無双しておりますが、このぬくもりと匂いを糧に夜ごと自分を慰めて我慢いたします。
Yeah, I'm gonna pretend I didn't hear that. Alright, time to get up.
兄様、お口だけでも5分で済ませてみせます。
What are you on about? Yeesh! I might still be a virgin, but I've spent a lot of time practicing in my room, and there's no way I could finish it in just 5 minutes, right? I felt like I was never going to get up at this rate, so I took Michiru by the hand and pulled her out of bed with me. Go on, go back to your room and get dressed.
愛が足りません。
With a reluctant sigh, she did as I said and left my room. I'm the one who ought to be sighing here. That Miu girl from yesterday was straightforwardly adorable, but my sister walked a very fine line between adorable and alarming. I wonder how on earth she became someone who can teeter on crossing that kind of dangerous line as if it were nothing, though I actually already know why. At a young age, she was struck with a severe fever that left her bereft of her sight, and very nearly her life as well. I did everything in my power to care for her back then. Even after she'd recovered, I continued to spend a great deal of time with her, helping her adjust to life without sight. And look where that's gotten me. You may think it to be a heartwarming story, but the caveat that Michiru is actually fallen in love with me as a result just makes it all feel like a bad joke at my expense. Well, whatever, I should get dressed too. I slipped out of my pajamas and put on my school uniform. The summer uniform felt soft and comfortable. I then checked to make sure I had my phone, wallet, and the pocket watch with me. Right. I glanced around my room, making sure I wasn't forgetting anything. In order to experience a taste of ordinary life, I live on my own in a separate part of my family's estate. Naturally, room and board is on them, but my laundry, cleaning up after myself, and any other issues of maintenance are all my own responsibilities. In other words, don't houses usually have AC nowadays? Every summer and winter gave me cause to complain about the weather, and today was no different.
和室なら朝晩は十分涼しいだろうさ。
Crow appeared out of nowhere. Yo, good morning.
我が輩にとって人間の時間の尺度は当てはまらないが、おはようと返しておこう。
I wish you'd give me a normal greeting in the morning for once.
お主の妹も相変わらずだの。
You saw?
いつも見守っておるぞ。
That's nice of you. For someone putting on airs like they're my guardian angel, you certainly didn't help me out there. You could have woken me up when Michiru came in or something.
お主が妹を邪険に扱えるなら手伝ってもやるさ。自分にできぬことで人に当たるな。
Well, yeah, I guess you're right. Sorry. All I could do was apologize meekly. Feeling a little guilty, I slipped on my sandals and went out into the garden. This house really is massive. It's not as though I get along poorly with my family, but my parents are always working and I hardly ever see them at home because the estate is so big. The only one who really feels like family is Michiru. Michiru was raised as a Savatari successor as well, but that aspiration was lost in tandem with her sight. While my family haven't mistreated her since then, they haven't exactly treated her with much priority either. Undoubtedly, the idea that I was her lone, unconditional ally, paired with the generosity I'd shown toward her, were why she'd become totally dependent on me by now. She really is an adorable little sister though.
昨日の女子といい、妹のことといい、お主は無駄に何でもかんでも背負いすぎだな。
Crow floated along behind me. Are you worried about me?
事実を口にしたまでだが、人間からすればこれは心配になるのか？
It'll be fine. My life is too easy as is, so it won't hurt me to try helping someone else out.
むしろ地に足をつけるための重しか。
Man, I wish there was a girl out there who would tie me up.
バカなことを言ってないで、さっさと朝毛を済ませてこい。
My stomach is so empty, I feel like I could float in the air like you. Crow waved her hand apathetically, but I ignored her and started walking towards the main building. One hour later. As I waited outside the house after finishing breakfast, Michiru appeared wearing her own uniform and carrying her parasol.
兄様、今日もよろしくお願いします。
Michiru held her hand out elegantly, as if she were inviting me to dance. Owing to her blindness, we always hold hands when walking to school together. Though it's not like my sister isn't able to get around on her own, since she uses her parasol like a cane. This is a privilege reserved just for her because she's family.
いっそこの妹と付き合ってしまえばと思わなくもない。
You can say some scary things, you know that? Since Michiru couldn't hear Crow's voice, she was naturally confused by my response. It's nothing, let's go.
今日も元気にですね。
Now then, we normally take the monorail to get to school. This city is notable for having a monorail line, which serves as one of the main attractions, so we use it to go just about everywhere. It makes getting around the city a snap. I matched Michiru's gait as we left the house, passing through the intersection on our way to the nearest boarding station. An unpleasant memory briefly surfaced. We went through the ticket gate and onto the boarding platform. I tried to avoid taking Michiru here when it gets crowded. We left home pretty early, so there weren't very many people.
ではご主人、我が輩はいつものようにモノレールで人の世の観察を楽しむゆえ、そちらも一日勉学に励むとよい。
Crow was as excited as ever to tell me that while we waited on the platform. I couldn't respond to her in front of Michiru, so I just glared at her instead. She doesn't have to deal with responsibilities like school or work at all. Stupid neat ghost! As if she didn't give a toss how I felt, Crow began floating along above the rails herself, with no intent of waiting for the train to show up.
何か。
Michiru snapped her fingers.
いえ、兄様の気配で誰かが近くにいるような気がしたのですが、勘違いだったみたいです。
Echolocation. Michiru made use of this technique to verify her surroundings, but she could only shake her head upon confirming nothing was there. She must have clued into Crow's presence from my own movements. Her other senses haven't dulled in the slightest. Oh, that reminds me, would you happen to know a girl named Miu Suzuki? Michiru happened to be a first year, just like that girl, so I figured changing the subject to ask about her couldn't hurt.
あら、兄様からミウさんの名前が出るとは意外ですね。
So you do know her?
クラスメートで仲のいいお友達ですよ。
Oh, a close friend, huh? Oh, is she really? I figured she'd at least recognize the name, but it was surprising to hear that they were such close friends.
妹の数少ない交友関係くらいは把握してくださっていてもよろしいかと思います。
Well, you know, Michiru, it's a little difficult to do that when you talk with me because you don't talk about anything but me, so I'm in the dark about what goes on at school for you.
私の世界は兄様の存在だけで充然に満たされておりますゆえ。
That's quite a leap from what you said 10 seconds ago.
ミユさんは可愛らしい子ですよね。見た目ではなく性格が。
Michiru giggled.
それで兄様こそミユさんとはどういうご関係なんですか？何か私がミユさんとお話をしなければいけないご関係なんでしょうか？
Hey, cut it out! It's not what you're thinking at all. While we were bantering like that, the train arrived. It was about a 10-minute ride, so we continued the conversation as we stood on the train. I don't know Miu very well at all. In fact, I only just met her yesterday, so I still don't really know what she's like. I leaned my weight against the handlebar as I spoke.
ちょっとした事情とは。
I can't tell you. It's not that I don't want to, but I have a good reason why I can't.
それなら気にしないことにします。
My sister was quick to place her trust in my words.
ミユさんのことを話せとおっしゃいますが、具体的に何をお話しすればよいのでしょう。特徴的なことは父子家庭であること、お家が少々貧しいこと。これは事情ですね。他には勉強は非常に得意なことくらいですが。
Accepting her poverty at home, I'd already known those things beforehand. If I'm the prince, that must make her Cinderella. She doesn't seem to have a wicked stepmother and elder sisters to bully her though. And since Michiru didn't mention how she skipped grades, I guess she didn't know about that either. I'd like to know more about her social anxiety myself.
ああ、 ええ、確かにみゆさんは引っ込み思案というか、人見知りが激しいですね。
I'm actually trying to help her overcome that, so I was just wondering if you have any ideas about how to help her open up a little more.
またおかしなことをしていますね。
Michiru gave me a gentle laugh.
性格を変えようとするなら、いっそ調教か洗脳でもされたらいかがでしょう。
I don't think that's a good idea. Hey, I'm not trying to make her into a completely different person. She just wants some help with her social anxiety.
冗談ですよ。あのピュアピュアなところは私も好ましく感じていますし。
I concur.
上がり症の克服につながるような話となると、まるで思いつきませんが。
Michiru stopped and thought about something for a moment.
兄様の参考にということでしたら、みゆさんに限らず周りの子の性格が大きく変わる出来事はあります。
What would that be?
彼氏ができた時です。大体は自分に自信がついて明るくなります。
A guy would go through changes like that when he finds a girlfriend too, but I would imagine the change is more drastic for girls. Why is that? I understood what she was trying to tell me, but given Miu's circumstances, the idea of her getting a boyfriend in order to work up enough courage to confess to Shuji was pretty much a cart before the horse kind of idea. Wait, on second thought, she might be onto something there. While I was silently collecting my thoughts momentarily, Michiru grinned and cocked her head to one side.
いっそ兄様がみゆさんとお付き合いされてみたらいかがですか？
Maybe. Huh? You're always trying to make a move on me and yet you ask me that? Oh, ye of little faith in your own brother.
私のアプローチも効果がないわけではないのですね。
I felt like I'd painted myself into a corner, given Michiru's maturation over the past year or two and how often she expressed her affection for me. One could say I felt a sort of ambivalence toward her. Aren't we getting off topic here?
上がり症の克服のために兄様とみゆさんに恋愛してもらい、あわよくば本妻にしていただいても構わないというお話でしたね。
Why must you distort my intentions so?
最終的に兄様に囲っていただきたい私の立場上、相手をしやすい方が本妻でいてくれた方が都合がよろしいのです。
Michiru displayed a smile more brilliant than the purest white. It was one that belied how she truly felt. Well, just don't tell Miu I asked you about her.
兄様の望むままに。
Michiru nodded respectfully, and that was the end of the conversation. Good grief. This was one hell of a conversation to have at this hour of morning. Even so, I felt that there was some value to asking another girl's opinion on the matter. Falling in love spurs on changes for a girl. For Miu, the changes have already started, so I just need to give her a bit of a push on the back, one way or another.